Hello and welcome to this Astranti YouTube video. In this video we're going to be looking at a couple of questions from our PreSeen Test pack, and this is a set of 30 questions that we release alongside the PreSeen as a kind of comprehensive test to ensure that you have read and digested the information from the PreSeen. And we are releasing this because the PreSeen has recently been released to students and you're all busy preparing for the strategic case study exam. And if you like this video, if you're interested in seeing more videos about the strategic case study or about anything to do with CIMA and accounting, then please like and subscribe to the video series below. And so in this video, we're just going to look at a couple of questions from that PreSeen pack just to demonstrate what the pack is and how it operates. And as you can see here, this is just the information that you would be provided with if you had the pack, and it really just talks about the reasons for it and how you may find it useful. It's important to ensure that you understand the PreSeen well and that you have all the relevant information, because the PreSeen is going to be the context in which the exam is presented. And if you do not act like a senior manager who works within the organization, who has experience and knowledge about the industry and the company that they work for, then you will not be asking questions, answering questions from the perspective of a senior manager who works within the organization of run. So we're going to start with the first question here. Which of the following risks to run's operations were not mentioned in the risk report? Select all that apply. So we had a risk report given to us in the PreSeen, lots of different risks, but there were a lot of other risks that were prevalent throughout the PreSeen, yet were not specifically mentioned in the report. So things like operational risks, things like supply chain risks, staffing issues, these were front and center within the risk report. Staffing, one of the big issues within the PreSeen. But what about governance and liquidity? Liquidity was referenced throughout in the PreSeen. There was mentions of rising costs. There was mentions of further demands on the organization, increasing costs. The costs of sales, the delivery costs, etc., had increased at a rate faster than revenue had. The company was still very profitable, but these costs had increased. And governance as well. It looked on the front of it that the governance was very good within the organization, but then there was no nomination committee. One of the key parts of corporate governance is to have a nomination committee, and that was not mentioned. So I would select these two as my two main ones to be risks that were risks to their operations but were not mentioned in the risk report. And that is the correct answer to this question. Liquidity and governance are either expressly mentioned or can be inferred from the PreSeen and the nature of the industry, yet there was no mention of them in the risk report. So what we can read from this as well from a strategic point of view is, from an overarching risk management perspective, there is a failure here. Risks that are clear and risks that could have a significant impact on the operations have not been mentioned in the risk report, which means they are likely to not be dealt with, which of course is a failing at the strategic case study level where all risks need to be managed effectively. Of Porter's generic strategies, which one is most likely being used at run based on the PreSeen information alone? So again, we might be given more information within the unseen that changes our mind on this, but at the moment we can only go based on the PreSeen information, and this is obviously the 4 parts of Porter's generic strategies: cost focus, differentiation, differentiation focus, or cost leadership. And this is the separation of whether we are going after very specific demographics or we are competing on price or on the quality of service. And we can't be competing in a very focused way because we are an enormous company with millions of customers, ranging from the largest businesses to the smallest individuals. So we can rule out any of the focus. So we can rule out cost focus and we can rule out differentiation focus. Now, is to whether we are competing on a differentiation basis or a cost of leadership basis. And some of you might be thinking that differentiation is the most appropriate answer because we have been at the forefront of technological advancements and trying to improve the process, but ultimately the service that we are providing is still the same basic thing. These technological advancements have just been to improve the base process rather than actually to provide a service that is significantly improved upon compared to competitors. We are just doing it better than individuals and the other organizations. And as a result, we've been able to constantly reduce our prices and improve the number of customers. And it mentions that in the PreSeen repeatedly, that we've been able to drive down the cost of our business. There was even a graph given in the PreSeen detailing the number of customers going up and the cost per delivery going down. So cost of leadership is, based on the PreSeen information alone, the most likely strategy. And more than likely this is because of the company being so big and being able to operate on such a wide scale that due to economies of scale we've been able to repeatedly reduce costs, and that has allowed us to constantly push down the price, allowing us to gain more and more customers. And finally, the company may want to take advantage of new developing economies, which is something that they do. They already operate in many, many countries all over the world as their access to online retailers improves. And we do a lot of deliveries for online retailers. So what kind of strategy would it be if we want to enter a new market? We already trade in about 170 countries in the world, but that still leaves quite a few that we do not operate in. Let's say that a new fictional country, let's call it Peeland or Meeland or Teeland, whatever you want to call it, and they are now getting the internet, they're getting broadband, they're getting faster internet, the infrastructure is improving in the country, and individuals for the first time are starting to really move into online sales and online retailing. So what kind of strategy would that be? As you can see, we've got 4 of the main ANSOS options here, and we've also got an emergent strategy here, which is the sort of red herring to throw into the mix. It's not an emergent strategy because we've already been undertaking this strategy worldwide. It's not something new to suddenly think of us to suddenly sell into new developing economies. We're talking about the specific new strategy of selling into this specific Teeland or Peeland, Meeland country. So we can rule that out, and now we're left with the ANSOS options. So diversification, market development, product development, and market penetration. Now we need to break down what the ANSOS matrix is here and apply it to the scenarios. So ANSOS matrix looks at whether it's a new or existing product and a new and existing market. And the level of risk is different depending on which option you choose. And a market penetration strategy is where you have an existing product and you are selling it to an existing market. So very low risk. Diversification is the high risk. So we have a new product and a new market. Product and market development are where you have a new product in an existing market and an existing product in a new market, respectively. So what would this be? So we want to take advantage of new developing economies as their access to online retailers improves. So it's not a new product because we would be providing our service to this new economy. So it's a new market, which would make it a market development strategy. And as you can see, that's the correct answer. Based on ANSOS, it would be a market development strategy. It's the same product in a new market. So we consider medium risk strategy. It's important that you as a strategic student mention the risk level, as we know our service, but we will not know the new market, maybe cultural and social differences that we need to adapt to in order to make entering this new market a success. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it and found it useful and got an idea of what this product is, and also perhaps learned something about the PreSeen as well. And if you would like to see more of these videos, please do like or subscribe to the video on the link below. And also please visit the website for more free samples and also information about our case study products as www.astranti.com.